Okay, well, hello everyone. It's Profesor Cañedo here, and here's the first of several more nuts and bolts videos in which I discuss various components of the class. These videos will look at some of the specific items about the class. Some of the videos will be new, hot off the presses, so to speak. Others will be from previous semesters. But all in all these videos are quite recent. They're quite up to date and will give you a lot more details to go along with with a lot of the written instructions that I have, especially with the written directions, particularly for the writing assignments. Okay, well, in this video, I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about how the discussion forums sections work. Right now, at this point in time, as we're all coming back from the spring vacation, all of you know which groups you are in. So all you needed to do was to go into the discussion forum section, and you'll notice that I've got the class split into three groups. So let's go ahead and get out of announcements right now, and we'll go into the discussion forum section, and we'll take a look at the groups right now. We'll take a look at the groups together. So here we are. Everybody that's in group one is from last names from B through H. So that's Cynthia to Maria, and then in group two we have people from M to P. So Maria Luisa to Sabrina. And then in group three, we have people with last names from R to Z. So Mariana to Rebecca. Those are the groups that you're in. And for those of you who added the class a little class late, I think there were about three, maybe four of you who added the class late, and you're not in groups right now. Please let me know as soon as possible. I'll make sure that you're placed into your proper group designation. Okay, so let me show you how this group process works um, because as you've seen so far, I'm sure you've all had a chance to take a look. There are 8 discussion forums to go along with the 8 weeks of readings. And the way it works is that the forums kick in, so to speak. That is, you start posting your comments the week after the reading. So we already did the first week's readings of the week before spring vacation. So now we're coming up from the second week. Those of you those of you in group one, now you post your comments, that is the week after the readings that took place, and that's the same throughout the entirety of the session, except of course when we get to the end of the session in week 8, in which those of you who are in group 3, you post your forum 8 comments right at the end of that week. And I'll say a little bit more about that in just a bit. But let me show you right now. The main thing I want to show you right now is how to post your comments into the forums. And this is the process I've been using for the past few years. Actually, it seems to be working. Seems to work fairly well, and I see no reason to change it at this point in time. So let me work with group 1 right now as an example, and the format that I have right here, of course, also applies to groups 2 and 3 as well. So let's go ahead and open up forum 1, and these are topics which pertain to the readings from the first week, especially the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, the Protocol of Querétaro, and uh, and of course quite a few other topics, particularly pertaining to the between the beyond 1848 readings. So let's go and open up the forum, and we'll go from there. Okay, when you go into a forums 1, 2, 3, I have the directions, the written directions for groups 1, 2, 3. So of course, if you're in group 1, you read my instructions in forum 1. If you're in group 2, you read my instructions in forum 2, and in group 3, you read my instructions in forum 3. You get the idea. Fairly simple, nothing too complex about that. And let's go ahead and open up my instructions here. And here are my written instructions in which I basically tell you what you have to do. So if you're in group 1, you're going to participate. You're going to post questions, post comments in forums 1, 4, 1, 4, and 1, 4, and 1, 4, and 7, and each of you will choose one of the questions from back in the main page of the discussion board. So let me quickly get out of this right here, and I'll quickly show you all the questions one more time. So here are all the questions. These are the questions that pertain to forum 1. So So what you do in group one is that those of you in group one, each of you choose one question. So only one question per person, please. So if any of you are interested in the statement and the protocol of Querétaro, then just let me know, Professor. I want to answer question 5. Or if you any of you are interested in the land law in California in 1851 and what the impact the land law had on the land base of the Californians, those were the upper class Mexicans that lived in California right up to the middle part of the 19th century before the U.S.-Mexico War began and unfolded. So if any of you are interested in that, then definitely let me know, Professor. I wish to do question 12. So in other words, everybody that's in group one, only choose one question, and please don't choose a question that's already been chosen. So for example, let me just use a couple of you as examples right here. Let's say, Cynthia, you want to answer a question 3 about the article in the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo with regard to citizenship rights for Chicanos. So Cynthia, you would say, Professor, I want to do question 3. But let's say Stephanie also wants to do question 3, and Stephanie would say, I like question 3. Question 3 also, Professor. I want to answer question 3 also. I'm sorry, but I can't allow that because you see, Cynthia already chose the question. She chose question 3, so the question is closed off. So Stephanie can't reply to question 3. Likewise, Christelle, Don, Matthew, or anybody else in group 1, you can't answer question 3 because question 3 has already been chosen. You see how that works, everybody? So once a question has been claimed, then that's it. It's closed to the rest of the class. But that doesn't mean that those of you in the rest of the group can't talk about that issue. I'll explain more about how that works in just a second here. So let's go ahead and go back into the forum here because already right now, 3 of you have already chosen questions that you want to work on. So Gabriela, Egda, and Lori, thank you ladies so much for choosing your questions. You see, everybody else in group 1, what Gabriela, Egda, and Lori did was they already claimed their questions. Gabriela wants to talk about question 1, Egda wants to talk about question 2, and Lori wants to cover question 12. What they did right here was they claimed their questions. They went into the form right here and they said, Professor or Professor, I want to answer this question. So what happens is once they claim their question, then the 3 of them will come back a bit later on and then write their answers. So basically, it's about a 3-step process here in which you're answering questions. When you choose a question that you want to write, that you want to answer, that's called a claim. It's like you're in the gold rush. You're in the gold fields in Sacramento, Placerville, Jackson, out toward Lake Tahoe, going out into Reno, those places. That is, you're in the gold country. You come across a patch and you hit a nice vein and you stake your claim right there. That's basically what you're doing in essence. That is, you're claiming a question, you're staking your claim. So what Gabriela, Egda, and Lori have done is that they have already claimed their questions. They made their claims. Now what happens after that is that once you make your claim, then you answer your question. So when you answer your question, that's what I call an original comment. So for example, let's take a look at what Lori says right here when she claimed question 12. Okay, so in Lori's claim, she says, I will answer question 12. Then all Lori has to do a bit later is hit reply. And once Lori hits reply, then she answers her question. She answers her question and she talks about that particular issue. Let me quickly double back here and see what question 12 was all about. Yeah, I should know this by heart, everybody, but it was the land law question after all. Excellent. Okay, so Lori wants to cover question 12. So all Lori has to do is hit reply and talk about the land law of 1851. The land law was a very significant moment in the in how it broke the power base, the land base of the California landowners. It basically put the onus, it put the burden of proof on the landowners to prove that the land was theirs, blah, blah, blah. But if they didn't have verifiable written proof that the land was theirs, then that land, it would be tied up in court cases. It would go on and on for years, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. I'm kind of giving away the answer right here. So Lori, you can just kind of build upon what I said here. But what I was saying right now, and what Lori would say in her comments is that is her original comments, her original comment in which she answered the question. And of course, the due date for answering the answering the question is coming up on next Friday. So Friday, April 8th, that's when I want everybody in group one to post your original comments. So in other words, please claim your questions as soon as possible. And then before Friday, April 8th, write your answers. And again, your answers are called original comments. Now, oh, and one other thing. Well, let me just quickly clarify something. So when you write your original comments, you can do one of two things. You can simply hit reply to your original claim. You could do that, or what you could also do is start a new thread. And if you click create thread and say answer to question 12 or answer to question 2, then you can write your original comment that way. So either way is fine, everybody. Whatever you want to do, it's fine with me. So either reply to original claim and write your answer there, or start a new thread and write your answer. One of those two methods is perfectly fine with me. So what happens is, let's say that Lori has already answered her question, uh, but uh, but even when you write your answer, when you write your original comment, that's not the event. That's only one part of the process, because what happens now is that each of you in group one, in addition to claiming your question and posting your original comment, then you have to post at least 2 replies. Please reply to at least somebody else within your group, at least one other person. You could reply to more if you wish, but also reply to me as well. So in other words, I'm going to be a participant in the group, in the forums too, whether with group 1, group 2, group 3, in all of the forums that throughout the entire session. I will be participating on a regular basis. So when I reply to you, then you reply back to me. So for example, let's go back to Lori's case right here. After Lori posts her comments about the land law of 1851, I will come back and say something like, well, that's a very excellent point, Lori, but here's one thing that you should definitely keep in mind. The Hispanic land tenure system, uh, didn't really see the need for legal documentations. It was based on occupancy and word of mouth, good faith, these types of things. That was all that was necessary in the Hispanic, and then by law, and then by extension, Mexican system. So if I say something to that effect in answering Lori's comments, then Lori comes back and would say something like, "Well, that's an excellent point, Professor. I hadn't thought of that, but what you said makes perfect sense. And additionally, also in the readings, um, Ornelas points out blah 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 about the land law too. So you see, we kind of go back and forth right here. So Lori posts original comments. I'll reply back to Lori. Lori replies back to me, and I will do that same thing with everybody, whether you're in group 1, group 2, or group 3 for the rest of the session. And likewise too. In addition to Lori replying back to me, let's say that Gabriela, that is, after she posts her comments, then Lori replies to Gabriela too. So if Lori replies to Gabriela, and then of course she replies to me within the form, then she's pretty much got it covered in terms of the amount of responses necessary. So you see how it works, everybody. Post the original comment, at least one reply to one of your classmates within your group, within your group forum, and then reply back to me when I respond back to you. I know it sounds a little bit confusing right now, but trust me, everybody. Once we get past the first round of forums, 1, 2, and 3, you'll see how this works. And I think, I think by we get to the 4th and 5th weeks, you'll have a better idea in terms of how this process will unfold. Okay, let's go and get out of a group, out of a form 1, and go back to the main page right here. So again, here are all the due dates, everybody, and the due dates apply to your original comments. That is, claim your questions now, and then by April 8th in form 1, group 1, please have your original comments ready by April 8th. On the weekend of April 9th and 10th, I will reply back to you, and then after that, then you respond back to me. For group 2, in form 2, your original comments are due on April 15th, tax day. And then for those of you in group 3, your original comments for form 3 is April 22nd. So again, let me clarify, let me clear that up, let me make that one final point, and then I'll wrap up this video here. Claim is when you go into the forum and say, Professor, I want question 7, or I want question 8. Original comment means that is when you answer your claim. That is when you actually write your answer to your respective questions. And by reply, that means it's a response to me or to anybody else within your group. And again, this is really important, everybody, and this happens every semester, and I hope it's not the case for this class. Invariably, a lot of people toward the end of the session forget the fact that they have to post replies to me and replies to others within your group. I've seen many cases over the semesters in which people do a good job of claiming their questions and then answering the questions with original comments, but they forget to reply to me and to others within the group. So please, I try my best every semester to emphasize that point that hey, you got to talk to me, you got to reply to me, you got to reply to others within your groups. And oftentimes over the sessions, and I want everybody to keep this in mind. The difference between, say, an A or a B, or a B and a C, that is not so much within your discussion forum grade, but for your overall class grade sometimes hinges upon the fact that you forget to reply to me, el profesor, or to your classmates within your group forum. So please don't forget about that, everybody. Um, because because when I reply to you, I definitely want you to reply back to me, so we can have a little bit of conversation going on about each of these topics throughout the entirety of the session. Okay, all right, that covers it, everybody. So I hope this nuts and bolts video helps out. Again, you've got my written instructions for all three groups in forms 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3 respectively. But I hope this video at least gave you a sense of the general idea of what you have to do. Now just go ahead and look into the forms and actually look at my instructions with more detail to get more of a better sense of what it is you have to do. All right, everybody. So that's it. That takes care of everything for this nuts and bolts video. The videos I'll have coming up soon, which will also be in that category. I've got a video coming up about the Chicano Time Traveler journals, which I'll have a little bit later on this week, and of course I'll have a nuts and bolts video about the U.S.-Mexico War Summit. So before we wrap up the second week of the session, I'll have at least 2 more videos for you coming down the line. Okay, everybody, that's it. Hope you're liking the class so far. We're still just getting started, getting our feet wet. So plenty more stuff on the horizon, and I definitely look forward to talking with all of you in all eight of the forums is what I'm trying to say. Okay, everybody, that's it. That's it from me, El Profesor, and I'll talk to you guys again very, very soon.